you have pen and paper, definitely take notes. But so as we get this day started, my name's Quentin Blanche. Everyone calls me Q. So I'm 29 years young, and I've just been a part of World Ventures now for 6 years, and it's radically transformed my life. It's enhanced who I am, and it's made me a much better person. Who has goals in 2018? I do. Because you showed up this morning for something more, and I applaud you. So let's go ahead and make some noise for being here this morning. Awesome. And we have a very special guest this morning. Now, let's set the tone. This is a good group. I'm looking around. There's some attractive people in this group. All right? Some good energy here today. And I think what we all want is more increase, more happiness, more success, more fulfillment. Can you guys feel me on all those things? Yeah. So that's why you're here. So I want you to be present. There we go. I want you to be locked in. We have a whole new movement coming in World Ventures. Who can feel it? Who wants to be a big part of that movement? You're here. You're here. Do me a favor. Everyone, slouch back in your chair. Slouch back like this is so boring. This kid Q. Who's this chocolate chip up here? Who's this guy? 5'6", you know? All right. Now, do me a favor. Move up close. Get to your edge of your seat. Okay? Be ready for increase. One of my mentors told me a long time ago, he's like, Q, you believe you're going to be successful, right? And I said, yes. He said, celebrate it as you already are successful. So what we're going to do, before I bring up the gentleman we have this morning for you guys, I want you to get fired up. Like, just act like your best friend won $100 million is going to give you 50 million of it. How excited would you be? There you go. All right. So on 3, I want you to celebrate as if you've already won. 1, 2, 3. So I think I got maybe 1 or 2 minutes to kind of get you guys set. But that's the energy I need you to have today. Because it can be one thing said, one moment, one line that can absolutely change your business. I've been here for 6 years, training event after training event after training event, and I will be at training event after training event after training event. Because I'm here for my moment. Are you here for yours? Okay, so with that being said, I hope this tone is set. We have a very special guest speaker for you guys. I met this gentleman, I think about 3 months ago, had a brief conversation with him, and I could just tell this is somebody who knows what he's doing in this business. They say to be successful, model yourself after people who are successful. So I was like, man, I think I need to go ahead and shave my hair. I think I need to go ahead and do this, okay? I've never worn pink, but I need to start rocking pink. Okay? But he just has influence, and he also comes from a background of military service. He served 14 years for the United Air Force. That's a big deal. I've always admired those people because it shows me they have a commitment to serving other people. They have a commitment to discipline and doing something for the people next to them. And that's why he's a great leader here. He's also been able to achieve the rank of International Marketing Director. 1% of 1% of people get here, and he did it in a little over 3 years while in the military. Is this a pretty big deal? Yes. Hey, this guy's income, I can't say for sure. He'll tell you everything, but it's freedom. Who wants financial freedom? This is the guy you want to listen to. The way he communicates, his leadership, his posture, I would model my whole business after this guy. So I'm blessed to even be asked this morning, like 20 minutes ago, to even share the stage with this man. So with that being said, I need you to bring the energy, bring the heat, and give it up for International Marketing Director, Tony LoBuglio!
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. LoBuglio. Oh man, I got a fan club. I need to come to Denver more often. Y'all didn't tell me this. First and foremost, guys, Jay, I don't know if you can turn me down just a little bit. I feel like blowing my own head up right now. I think we're good. Thank you. So first and foremost, guys, thank you for coming today, okay? And congratulations, first and foremost, because there's a lot of things that you can be doing on this beautiful Saturday, especially here. You guys got a lot of outdoor stuff you can be doing right now, and you guys are cramped up in this hotel room with us. So that I don't take that lightly. I know that what it takes for you to be here, for some of you, the sacrifices you have to make, calling out of work, babysitters, you know, just missing different things, and just know that this decision that you've made here today, I'm pretty sure we're gonna deliver today. So you'll enjoy it, but just know that same decision to come here today, if you hold on to that throughout your World Ventures career, and you always make that same decision, because it's always going to be easy to say no, but it's just as easy to say yes, and just figure out how to get to the yes. But as long as you keep leaning towards that yes decision, you're going to see your World Ventures business continue to climb and grow. So congratulations on that. For those that don't know me and have never seen me, well, I came here actually 3 years ago, 2015, okay? This month, 2015, I looked it up, I hopped up on my timeline, and I was like, wow, what a coincidence. Who was here for that training? Nice, that's a good amount, man, cool. All right, well, hey, congratulations, you're still here. Yeah. But for those that haven't seen me train, I'm gonna tell you a little bit of my story. But I'll be the first to tell you, listen, I don't stand up here in the front of the room pretending to be better than anybody. Not pretending, I am not better than anybody. Okay, I'm just an average dude. I'll tell you where I came from, how this thing started. I'm not the most successful person in this room right now. I'm not the wealthiest, I'm not the smartest, I'm not the hardest working, I'm not any of that. Okay, I'm just somebody that came from somewhere and had a crap ton of obstacles in my way too, just like every single one of you. We all come from somewhere. It's not always the same place. And we all got these aspirations of where we want to be. Sometimes they change over time. Sometimes we don't even know what we want to do or where we want to end up. But the whole point, and what I'm going to try to do and share with you today through my story and different teachings, and Nick's going to do the same thing as well, what we're going to try to teach you is that it doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter what your background is. How much money's in your bank account, what kind of college degree you have, what kind of, your family had. Doesn't matter if you have any fancy mentors, if you're in a bunch of debt. I don't care if you're battling depression every single day. I don't care if you're introverted and you got medical emergencies, or it just doesn't matter. And I don't say any of that to, lighten the blow of all that if it is happening to you. But I say that to say, man, you can. And if you got a will for it, you'll get past all that. And just know that every single one of those obstacles that has ever been in front of you, and the ones that will continue to be in front of you, they're meant to mold you, to grow you, guide you, make sure you really want whatever you really want. So back to my story, I come from Maryland. That's where that's where I grew up. Maryland. Anybody out there? The DMV, we like to call it, DC, Maryland, Virginia. I come from Maryland, not a wealthy family at all. Very lower middle class, and I'm talking about low middle class. My family was on welfare pretty much as long as I can remember. I joined the United States Air Force at 19 years old. They were still on welfare. I'm the oldest of 5. My dad's a mailman today. He's been a mailman for almost 20 years. My mom's disabled and handicapped, hasn't worked in probably the same amount of time, 25 years. I got addiction all throughout my family. Nobody in my family prior to us joining World Ventures had ever, and I'm talking about family, the LoBuglio last name, nobody ever paid 6 figures doing anything. Anything. So, I didn't have a college degree, I don't have a college degree. A couple credits short of getting it. I've been that way for about 10 years and I refuse to go get it. Ever since I learned about entrepreneurship. Look, don't let me push that on you. Education is great, okay? And there's a lot of things in this world where you absolutely 100% need an education. I'm not going to stand up here and say don't go get one and all of that. But my stance on it is you can be successful without it if you wish to. And that's the message I try to deliver. I feel like in today's day and age that a lot of our just a lot has been pushing a lot of brand new millennials into a lot of debt that they probably don't even know that they want or need. And I'm just not an advocate of that. If they know they want it, cool, let's go get it. But if you're sure you don't want it, there's other ways. So I don't have a college degree. When I joined the United States Air Force, I did it in 2 weeks. So I grew up on an Army base, and I always told myself I would never join the military. I always told myself, I said I would never do it, never do it. And then when I turned 19, you know, we think we know everything. A recruiter started chasing me down, and he said, hey, I'll give you $6,000 if you go sign up for 6 years. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, I'm in. $6,000 for 6 years of my life? Oh yeah, that sounds like a deal to me. Not 4 or 6. Yeah, no, but look, there was obviously a lot of other reasons. I love serving the military, man. It turned me into who I am. I learned so much from it. I met my wife. I got to travel the world. I mean, I am completely honored that I went and did all that. And if there's anybody in this room that has ever served in the military, I applaud you without a doubt. But the reason I tell you that story is because when that recruiter told me, when he gave me that statement, I said, all right, let's go do it. The very next question that he had for me was, when would you like to go? And my response was, as soon as possible. So he said, all right, I can have you in boot camp in 10 days. And I said, all right, let's go. I didn't talk to my girlfriend at the time. I didn't talk to my parents, my brothers and sisters. I didn't go to my job and tell them, nothing. I made the decision on my own because this is my life. But I say that part of the story to tell you that I'm very impulsive. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't work out. That one obviously worked out, I feel like, to a big degree. So I go in the military. Again, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. My first assignment is Alaska. Anchorage, Alaska. All right, which is pretty dang dope, by the way. So I go up there. Anyways, 14 years goes by, and let's just fast forward the story just a little bit. Midway in my military career, I was climbing up the ranks. I was doing well, and I was loving it. I was having a good job. It was a fun job. I talked to fighter aircraft. I don't know if anybody here knows what AWACS is, but AWACS is like a plane. It's a surveillance plane. And they're, without going into too much detail of it, especially detail that doesn't even matter right now, just know that they look at things on the ground. And the whole objective is for that plane to go fly overseas into enemy territory, or be prior to getting to enemy territory, and they can see out hundreds of miles on the ground, so they can see enemy contact and troops and different things like that. And that radar picture then gets passed on to people that need to know, people like myself. I was the enlisted version of that. So instead of being in a plane, I was on the ground. We were in mobile attack units where we would mobilize in these, it looked like, probably from here to this wall. It actually looked like a big dumpster, to be honest with you. But inside the dumpster was just full of all this high-tech equipment and radar equipment and all that stuff. So my job was to decipher where enemy planes were on a radar picture being fed to me, and then talk to the fighter pilots and guide them to those enemy aircraft to shoot them down. Or if it's, we got a call in to go, and there's something called troops in contact, call them TICs. So if there's Army or Marines that are on the ground, they're in a firefight, or they're being pressed down or whatever, they call us. We then get on the phones to the fighters go in, they unload on the enemies. So I had a great job. A very fun job, a very important job, but also a very critical job. If I messed up, people died. And I'm not just talking about bad guys. I'm talking about good guys. Died. Part of that job was we would talk to as many as 200 aircraft at one time on about 3 different radio channels. And I'm looking at radar scope. Not only do we need to guide them to enemy aircraft and to handle the mission, but we got to keep them from crashing into each other. We got to keep them separated by altitude. Sometimes it's a little less 500 feet apart. We got to get them refueled. Some of these planes are up in the air for up to 18 hours at a time. And they just got to fly around in orbit. and we got to guide them to an air refueler, and then we got to guide them to the mission, and so on. And it's high stress, very high stress. So now that I've kind of painted that picture of what my job was, in 2008, I got deployed, and while I was deployed, I read my very first entrepreneurial book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I say that every time I train. Okay, if you haven't read it by now, y'all. If y'all in this room, you haven't read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Come on, like, read the book. But that book completely revolutionized how I think about entrepreneurship and employees and residual income and leverage and all that. And it just, I felt like I'd been lied to my whole life. I felt like, man, I was in this cage that, even though I volunteered to get into it, I didn't know there was any other options. But there was also a sense of excitement that went over me. Like a new life. Like, wow, there is another way. Holy cow. So the more I started diving into personal development and books and reading stuff like that, again, I'm impulsive, right? I painted that picture for you. So I'm not the person that's going to need to wait for every detail and every information and the time to be just perfect for me to jump into something. So while I was in Germany, I had 4 years left on my military contract. I can't do anything. I can't start a business. I can't invest in real estate. I can't really do a whole lot in Germany serving in the military, especially when I'm going back and forth to the desert every 6 months. So I just started filling my brain. I just started getting good. I started just reading the right stuff, following the right people, learning, asking questions, and just getting ready. And the one thing I've always been excited about was real estate. Is there anybody in here in real estate? So I've always been excited about real estate, but I never knew anything about it. So I just started diving into that. And when I went to my very next duty station in 2009, it was Panama City, Florida, I started buying some real estate. I just started buying houses. Took like everything I'd saved, everything I had, and then, one of the amazing things about being in the military is you get a VA loan. Where, you don't have to put anything down, you don't have to pay a lot of interest, private organ insurance, you don't have to deal with that, but that's neither here nor there. The point is that I was able to get my entrepreneur career going. Started investing in real estate, put some renters in some properties. Started a landscaping company. I was mowing lawns. I was laying mulch. I was doing all that stuff. I had a couple employees working for me, but I'll tell you that lasted one summer. Because I said, nope, this ain't what I'm looking for. Anybody ever done landscaping? Yeah, it ain't for everyone. So, I said, I'm done with the mulch. And I took a little bit of what I had saved left, and I went and I started looking into franchises. So I started looking at some of the top franchises in the United States. And I ended up buying this travel agency franchise. So just pay attention. As I start telling you all these things about my life and the experiences I've had, just watch how they all add up to right here. So I started doing this travel agency. And I love traveling now. Especially when I get to go see the places that I get to go see at the price that I get to go see them. But 5 years ago, I didn't care about traveling. Like, I'm just not that guy. I could stay in one city and make it. I'll be fine. I'll find a lot to do. But my wife, on the other hand, Miss Megan LoBuglio, she was born with a suitcase in her hand, man. And I still remember, it was like a couple weeks after I proposed to her and she said yes. She starts talking about joining the Peace Corps. I'm like, what? Hold up. That might affect some things. She's always looked at ways to go travel the world for cheap or free. That's the only reason she joined the military. So there's kind of a little dilemma there. I can't stay in one city and then be happily married, right? So this travel agency that I get, I'm like, man, this is it. This is right up the alley. I love business. I want to make money. My goal has always been, guys, I just want to be free. I don't need to be the richest. I don't need to be the most successful. I don't need to be the guy. I don't need to be famous. I don't need any of that. I just want to be free. I just want to be able to do what I want, when I want, without somebody telling me when, why, or how. And it doesn't need to be something crazy. I don't need to go buy a jet. I don't need all that stuff. I want to be able to control my own life and be able to make up my own decisions and have my own options. That's what I've always wanted. So that's all I was chasing as an entrepreneur. So I see this travel agency and I'm like, yeah, man, we can do this. One of the top franchises. They help you. We can do it part-time. My wife loves to travel. Man, this is a no-brainer. Get into it. It costs us $10,000 to get started, by the way. So $10,000 in. You still got to pay $200 a month for different fees and support and all that stuff. 5% of what you get back in terms of, by the way, you have to go get your business. They don't give you business. You still have to go get your marketing materials and find the business and do it all, and then come do it. And then you got to give them a kickback, a percentage of the business you have. Well, as a travel agent, the markup in travel, we've heard, is like nothing. It's like non-existent, especially when you're talking about airline tickets and things like that. So literally, I would go book you. And here's how it worked. Somebody would call me for a trip, and usually, you're not dream trippers, when would you normally book a trip? It's usually about 6 months to a year out. Especially civilians that don't have access to what we have. We're bougie. We're spoiled. We'll book a week. We'll be gone this weekend. Right? But civilians, I still call them civilians, but civilians that know nothing about travel, they're like, no way, like, we got to plan this for 8 months. So they would call me and they would say, hey, Tony, man, I got this honeymoon I want to go on. And I want to go to this place, and it's 12 months from now. All right, cool. Hey, we're doing this big group wedding cruise or something, or it was just they would book trips, and I would have to go do all the research. So Lefty would say, hey, we want these options, and I'd be like, okay, cool. And then I would go find all the options, call the resorts, call all these places. Pretty much everything that Rovia does for us, I did. Okay, and then I would do all that, and I would come up with a couple packages based on what you want, and then I'd deliver it to you. And if you said no, I'd just do it for free. But if you booked it, cool, great, you booked it. Now you have to go on the trip, because just like with World Ventures, the trip has to be completed for the commission to be paid out. So the resort paid the travel agency franchise, and then they would pay us out. So what happens is if Lefty cancels in those 8 months, 10 months, 12 months, that honeymoon is not happening no more because they broke up or whatever it is. I don't get paid. Nothing. So I did that for a couple of years, but it didn't take me very long to realize that this is not the vehicle I was looking for. So I went on, I started really diving into passive residual income. And, again, I'm in the military, now I have a couple businesses, I got real estate, so it's just stuff is getting more and more, guys. Those that are like, I'm time broke, yeah, I know. So, it's just starting to add up and add up and add up. And I get this bright idea, you know what? I want to start a vending machine company. I started with little gumball machines in Chinese restaurants. I would go, literally. My business was, I would go find people that had these gumball machines, and they would sell them to me in bulk. And I'd buy 30, 40, 50 of them at a time. And they'd be trash, and they'd have melted candy and crap in them, and parts would be broken. And I would bring them to my garage after work. And I would clean those suckers, and I would paint those suckers, and I'd get them up, and then I'd go buy candy, and I'd go put them in. And I'd have them sitting in my garage ready to go, but then I gotta go pound the ground. Now I gotta go to a Chinese restaurant, now I gotta go to a Greek restaurant. Now I gotta go to the kids' toy store, the doctor's office, and I'm going to all these places. You know what everybody's telling me? No, we don't want that here. We don't want to deal with ants. We don't really have kids in here. We don't want to blah, blah, blah. Just punch in the nose after nose after nose after nose. Finally, I graduate from candy machines up to big, full-on vending machines. Because I'm like, eventually I got to where I had about 20 gumball machines all over the place. And it was cool when you'd show up and there were $7 in quarters in there. It was cool. But then you're like, this ain't really paying the bills. So I'm like, all right, well, vending machines. Stock a vending machine, you can make thousands of dollars a month on one vending machine if it's the right location. So we get into that, and I grew that to over 100 vending machines. And then got to the point where I found myself on my days off and nights and weekends, all I was doing was driving around servicing vending machines. My wife, she likes to make a joke, and she'll tell you it all the time every time she trains. She said, our date night was us putting Snickers bars in vending machines. She hated it. She hated it. See, the vending machine game was cool because when you showed up and there was $250 sitting in there and the thing was empty, man, cha-ching, let's go. The markups are crazy in vending machines. But when you show up and there's nothing, because somebody put a fake quarter in there and jammed it all up on the first day that you serviced it. In the last 2 weeks, nobody bought anything. Or because in the wrong location that somebody breaks into, it steals everything out of there, including the money. Now you got a bad location, a bad machine, and nothing, you know. So it got to the point where, again, I'm realizing, I think I've outgrown this. This isn't what, it got me closer to what I was looking for, but it's not what I'm looking for. So naturally from there, being the entrepreneur that I am, and loving Robert Kiyosaki, I decided to go to one of those free Robert Kiyosaki courses. And it was more so, instead of trying to learn, it was more of a networking thing. But I went there and man, I drank the Kool-Aid. I didn't buy into their program, but I drank the Kool-Aid, and I was like, yup, this is it. This is what I'm gonna do. So a couple months down the road, I ended up moving up to Maryland from Florida. I got out of the military. Or I got out of active duty United States Air Force. This is 2011, by the way, now fast forwarding. And I moved up to the DMV. I got this travel agency that doesn't work. Well, I'm not working it. I got 100 vending machines that I don't want anymore. But I got obligations. I got a few houses and rental properties and things like that. I end up joining the United States Air National Guard in DC, so I can still have benefits and kind of transition. So I'm doing that. I'm working 13-hour shifts at this job. So at this job, I got to be there at 6 o'clock a.m. I don't know if anybody's ever been to DC, but that traffic is like Denver on steroids. So I literally got to leave by the latest 4:30 every morning, like the latest. It's 4:30 every morning to get to work by 6. We do a briefing, and then I sit on scope. That scope, that's working for 12 hours. Now at this job, I'm in a room about as wide as this 2 tables, about from here to this wall. And there's 16 of us in this room for 12 hours. We all got our own little station, and it's dark as hell, and there's nothing but screens with like war pictures and different things around DC that we need to be worried about, just all that stuff. No cell phones are allowed in there because it's a secure location. You have your own computer, but you can't really surf the internet or things like that because a lot of the sites are blocked because it's a secure location, it's military. So anyways, I do that and I get off. We do a 6:30 p.m. debrief, and then by about 7 o'clock I'm out the door. Same ride home. If there's no accident, it's about a 45-minute ride. If there's a car accident, could be 2 hours. So that's my life. And then I get introduced to a real estate investment program. You guys ever watch Flip This House? The guys in Connecticut? Fortune Builders? So these guys, I get introduced to them. Like literally them. Not like just introduced to their program, them. So I go to the program, and this time I decide to buy in. It cost $25,000 to get into their program. And the whole program's teaching you how to flip houses. Where to buy, how to market them, how to go yellow, all the types of signs, bandit signs, different things to market, wholesale houses, all that stuff, the whole thing. They give you the resources. So, I'm sitting in this course, and before we do the $25,000, it's kind of set up like this, except it's all tables. You're allowed to bring 2 people with you. So I brought my wife and my little brother Tom. My little brother Tom is running his own landscaping company at the time, and he's pretty much a one-man show working his butt off. He started this when he was about 17 years old, built up a nice landscaping company. He's making decent money, but he is working. He is humping all day, every day. So I was like, come on, come to this thing with me. They pitch us their deal, and we're like, wow, I'm all in. Problem, we don't have $25,000. Life happens. I mean, all this money I'm putting in all these businesses, it's taking tolls. So, I mean, we had the $25,000, but we had to move some things and do some things and sacrifice some things for it. It wasn't easy. It's like, all right, yeah, here's $25,000. But again, I'm telling you this part of the story to see how it all adds together. There was a trainer, kind of like myself, that led that whole thing, right? And on the second day he was training, he was telling a story about his mom. You know, the whole thing was how he got financially free through this idea of flipping houses and, you know, so all this stuff. And he told this pretty touching story about how his mom, where she comes from, and he was just taking her around the world on trips and stuff like that. And he like, as he's telling the story, he starts really crying. Like crying. And I'm like, that's interesting. I'm skeptical too, by the way. So I'm watching him, and I watch people, man. I don't care about the crowd, those numbers, I don't care about that. I watch people. So we go home, and we're kind of sold on this, and we got to go home. We got to figure out where to get the $25,000, because the next day is when we got to write them the check if we want to be, you know, start the program and be in and all that stuff. And there's just something about this dude crying in this story that I can't let go of. It just didn't seem heartfelt to me. So I go and I'm like, I researched God. I don't research. And one of the things that I saw is that almost every single one of these trainings, he does this same story, and he cries every time. You're shaking your head. So I'm like, is this a show? Like, because I got some very touching stories, especially things with my family. Like, I can start talking about something with my dad or something, and I'll cry today with y'all. But I can also do the training next week, and I might not cry. So, like, how does he cry? Every single time. So I go deep, and I'm trying to figure it out. And just like things like World Ventures, what do you think you see? You see nothing but good and bad, and it's all mixed in, and it's just people. They scammed me, I lost my $25,000, oh, this guy is a joke, blah, blah, blah. And then there's ones like, changed my life, I flipped my first house last month, made $56,000. Like, it's just mixed reviews all over the place. Well, my wife and my brother are looking at me. What are we gonna do? I said, let's write this check. Because here's the thing, I don't care if it costs $25,000. If we can learn the skills of how to flip houses on our own, we can make that back in one house. 2 houses, 3 houses, 4 houses. Like, we can learn those skills that $25,000 is nothing. Now at this time, $25,000 this is a lot of money at the time for us. It still is a lot of money. But just putting myself in that mindset of 25, flipping it to 50 to 75, you know what it was doing? It was growing. It was growing me. It was getting me out of that I don't even know what you call it, that realm that I was in, to where I thought that this was my life and this is all I can make and these are the numbers that my life is attached to and things like that. But I felt like it was like pulling me up a little bit. So we get in, we start flipping houses. But I didn't realize in order to really get deep into flipping houses, you need some money. They teach you how to go find private investors and different things and find money in that, but you need money. If anybody tells you that you can go flip a house with no money, we tried. They teach you how to wholesale houses too, by the way. I won't get into all that, but it's a way for you to make money off of being the middleman, essentially. Finding the deal and putting the right people in place. And you can make good 5, 10, 15, 20,000, whatever it is. And so you can make that money, build it up, and then go pour it into a house if you want to. Well, that was too slow for me. So we're trying to find ways to make money. And my dad, I told you, mailman. He's always worked 2 and 3 jobs his entire life. Still working his butt off today. And he will only retire when we're able to retire him. So, but he approaches me and he says, I don't exactly remember how the conversation went, but he cashed out his entire retirement savings account. $150,000. And all I remember is the conversation when he showed up and he gave me that check. He looked me in the eye He said, this is all we have. This is everything I work for. When I die, it's going to you anyway. This is the story I was talking about. Y'all can go research me later. But, so this is all we have. So I'm putting it on you now. That's a lot of weight. That's a lot of weight, y'all. But I took it. I said, thanks. You know, see, my dad came from a very low-class family. He never had anything either. And he's always had to work his butt off to raise 5 kids. And, you know, this, to me, was like a sign of passing the baton. Kind of like I thought I did the best I could to get us where we needed to be. But this is where I got us. Now, if we're to go forward, it's on you. You guys asked about the posture and the confidence and the whole LoBuglio thing. This is where it comes from. I don't feel like we have any other option. So we do this, we get the money, we start flipping houses, we're doing all right, but again, we're working our butt off. 12, 13, 15-hour days, still got jobs going on, still got businesses. And it's like, the success of the real estate company is still dependent on banks and other investors and things like that, hard money lenders, and there's a lot of things that go into success in real estate. You can make a lot of money very quickly, but you can lose a crap ton too, pretty quickly. So, in 2012, life starts hitting us pretty good. I got a vending machine company, I got a travel agency that I don't work. I just put $150,000 of our family's money into this real estate company that's up and down, we're doing the dang thing. I'm still active in the United States Air Force. Got a couple rental properties, like, man. And then, you know, life starts happening all over the place. Family members, close family members that raised us, you know, they get diagnosed with cancer, terminal cancer. You know, things at my military job start going crazy. You get these big exercises to where it's like, I've got to be there 16 hours a day, a couple days I got to sleep there. You know, we get into a property, which is the biggest project we've ever had. We think it's going to be a quick flip, a little bit of money. Yeah, let's go over and get this quick check. Drags on for a couple extra months. You know, we get money stolen from us, from the contractors we hired, tools stolen. And then finally, so this little 4-week project that we were supposed to have turns into a few months. We get it all tidied up and ready to go. This thing is spotless, man. It's ready to sell on the first day because we got signs out. People are coming to ask us. We clean it all up. It's a Friday afternoon. Realtor's supposed to show up Saturday morning to take pictures to officially list it. Realtor shows up. I get a phone call saying, what the hell happened? What do you mean, what happened? I'm in the house, and the entire living room ceiling was caved in. The brand new hardwoods were all waterlogged and ruined. And one of the contractors that we hired to put together the washer and dryer upstairs didn't tighten all the piping. So when the water got turned on, it slow leaked. And ended up just caving in the ceiling. So another $20,000 needs to go into that to fix all that up. We have to go another few weeks. It's just... And I get a phone call. I get a phone call from somebody that I trusted, that I've known for a very long time, that was very successful in a lot of other things. And he says, man, I got this thing. It's a way for you to make money. It's in the travel industry. I know you do the travel thing. They gave us paid for BMWs. I'm gonna go get this BMW. And you know, I'm hearing all this and I'm just like, nah, I'm not interested. Thanks, but no thanks. I said, I don't have time. I already have my baby, my real estate company, and I said, I'm not doing one of those things. I'd never done direct sales or network marketing in my life. I knew a couple people from high school that did them, ACN and prepaid legal and things like that. They used to go around telling people they were making a lot of money, but you can see in their lifestyle they weren't making very much money. So I thought the whole industry was just... So I said no. Didn't even think twice about it. I go on with my life. That's my life, I'm talking about the next few days. And I have a conversation with a coworker. And it's just a casual, normal, around the water cooler conversation. And he says, Tony, like, what do you do for fun? I work. Now, that answer from me, there was nothing wrong with that. Because I like working. I'm an entrepreneur. I love it. I mean, like, I'll work 20 hours a day and won't even think anything of it. I'll forget to eat. I won't, like, that's me. But man, my mind immediately flashed to my wife. And that's when I was like, another awakening. So about 7 days later, I get that same call back about World Ventures. And this time, instead of saying, no, I don't have the time, I already got my company, I'm not doing one of those things, instead of approaching with a closed mind like an unsuccessful person normally does, an ignorant, a closed-off person, I said, you know what? Show me that thing again. And instead of thinking about how I can't do it, how I don't have the time, how I don't have the experience, how I don't know if it's real, blah, 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 I started asking myself different questions. What if this is real? What if I can do this? What if I don't need very much time? How much time do I really need? What if this thing does take off? And man, oh man, those wheels just started spinning. My friend had made $2,000 in those 2 weeks. He personally enrolled like 12, 13, 14 people. The compensation plan was just a little bit different back then. But he made $2,000. And I said, yeah, right. I couldn't believe it because $2,000, that was a 2-week paycheck for me after 14 years in the military. It took me 14 years of sacrifice and learning and growing and climbing up the ranks. And I was in a position where I was in charge of over 20 people at that current job. And you just made the same amount of money that I make in 2 weeks? You just made the same without even trying? Show me that thing again. So, I'm still skeptical. I still don't know how this is going to work. I don't know if it's real, but here's what I do know, okay? He says one thing to me. He says, I'm going to show you how to get your time back. Get my time back? What does that mean? There was something about that that it tugged on me. Get my time back. I like that. I like the sound of that. So I get started. It's January of 2013. January 21st of 2013. And I'm like, all right, I'm in. What do I do? He says, go show some people. I'm like, all right. Don't know training. Nothing like this. He signed up 2 weeks before me, so he doesn't know anything either. We have no upline. You see what you guys got right here? You guys got support. You got an upline. You got leadership. There's a system in place. There was none of that. Nothing. He said, go sign some people up. I'm like, all right. And what I did was I was asking, where are you at? You, Mr. Townsend, you're the reason I'm in World Ventures. It was a David Townsend video that I was sent. There was a Carlos Rogers video and a David Townsend video. I got the David Townsend video. And so here's what I did. I would then call people. No rhyme or reason, no list. I would just call people, and I would send them that video, and then I would talk to them for like 3 hours, 4 hours. And if I couldn't get them then, I would call them tomorrow, and the next day. And I did whatever it took. I messed it up. I said it all wrong. I made promises and guarantees. I said some things about, I told somebody that when you go on a dream trip, after you go on the dream trip, they give you every single dollar that you put into that dream trip back in reward points. I was telling people that. And somebody actually pulled my card on it. They booked a dream trip, and they went. I was like, oh, you don't get that. My bad. They ended up quitting. But I did it all wrong. And I didn't know. And here's the thing, I didn't care. I didn't know if I was doing it right or wrong. When people told me no, I didn't care. It's like I didn't even notice it. It was just like on to the next one, on to the next one, on to the next one. And here's what it was. I was intoxicated with belief. This was the very first thing that I ever saw in my life, that if I work my butt off, I can actually get to where I want to be. I saw that income disclosure statement at one point, I think it was like 1.7 million or something at the time, for the up to the top level of the company. And I asked my friend before I got started, I said, can I make that money? I said, don't lie to me, man. Can I make that money? Because I'm about to make a decision that I felt like I made 15 years ago in the military when I was sitting in front of that recruiter. Don't lie to me. I'm about to sign this contract right here. When I go in, I go in. And he said, as far as I know. So that's good enough for me. See, I didn't have anybody in my life talking to me about a lifestyle like this, or freedom, or getting my time back, or making $1.7 million. If it could happen, I didn't care. We've all heard it before. We don't need get rich quick, just get rich possible, right? And that's all I was looking for. So when I'm building my World Ventures business, I'm messing it all up, but I don't care, because all I can think about is the end game, what this is going to turn into. Now, I'll be very, very honest. I didn't see this. I didn't see this. I didn't see IMD. I didn't see big money. I did not. When I got started, I told the person that signed me up, I said, listen, man, I'm going to go get my floor, because I don't want to pay that monthly fee. But after that, I'm not going to promise you what else I'm going to do, because I'm probably just going to go back and do what I'm doing. I'm just going to enjoy the membership. So do that. Go start sharing with people, doing what I just told you. We got 14 of our friends and family to say, yeah, I want to do that too, within our first 10 days. And I made almost that $2,000 that he did, the same amount of time. And that is when my light bulb went off. That's when I was like, wow. If I could do that without really trying, I just put so much in all these businesses. What if I treat this like a business? Now, I don't have full-time, so I have to approach it with a full-time mindset, with a part-time schedule, but we can wean ourselves off of those other things and eventually onto this, if this is that vehicle. That's all we did. We're going. We get our feet. Oh, by the way, my wife knows nothing about any of this. She's in Texas. She was active duty United States Air Force, by the way, as well, 13 years on her own. So we were both dual military. At the time, I was in DC working my job. She ended up getting a new job to where she had to go get trained. So she was in Texas for 6 months getting trained. And then I get this call about World Ventures. Now look, I'm going to give you a little background. I told you how my wife felt about the vending machines. She pretty much felt that way about every single business we had. And I don't blame her, because all she ever saw was those businesses, that stuff taking me away from her. And I never had enough success in any one of those things to make me be like, oh, well, it's worth it. It was just mild success in every single one of them. So, here's a no. We're doing this for the next couple of months. This talk could be 4 hours. Like, for real, if we go into the story. But about mid-February, that same person that signed me up starts talking to me about this training event in Las Vegas. And he's talking about this weekend that is 2 days after my wife gets home from Texas. That face right there. So I'm like, oh. First of all, I'm thinking, I don't need training. Because I just put in like 20 personals the last 2 months and I don't need training. Then I'm thinking like, why am I going to pay a couple $100s to go to this training? And then I'm like, there's no way, no how, dude. It's like right after my wife gets back. And all I've been telling her, because we hadn't been on a vacation in 5 years. All we did was work. And before she left, she said, you're taking me on a vacation when I get back. And I was like, all right. You know what it takes to get to the top of any company? Make stuff happen. If you wait for stuff to come to you, it ain't. You're going to stay where you're at. It's the people that get up and they go make things happen in the world that get somewhere. So, yes, I got to figure out how to kill 7 birds with 1 stone here. Anyways, I commit to going to Vegas. And now that I commit, I got to break this sucker to my wife. So I don't know how she's going to take it yet because, again, all those other businesses. So I call her and I said, hey, babe, what are you doing right now? She said, nothing. I said, hey, I got something you got to see. She said, what? I said, don't worry about it. It's just a little thing that so-and-so sent me. Check it out. I'll call you back in 20 minutes. She calls me back 3 minutes later. I was like, what's wrong? Link ain't working? She's like, no, it's working. She's like, what is this? What do you mean, what is it? Did you watch the video? It's only been like 3 minutes. Now I'm starting to try to backtrack. And she's like, listen, I already know you're doing it. And I'm like, who have you been talking to? She said, I was like, what are you talking about? She said, look, I got to the part where it said travel. I got to the part where it said it cost a couple $100. And she said, I called you. She said, I know you. She said, it's a way to make money, and it only costs a couple $100. She's like, I don't care. All I want to know is, are we going to go on some vacation? That's all she said. That's it. So I was like, yes. As a matter of fact, as soon as you get back, we're going to Vegas. Now listen, my wife hates Vegas. She cannot stand Vegas. She hates it every time we have a training event there. She hates walking all over the place. She doesn't gamble. She hates Vegas. So I have to plan something else, right? So I plan LA and Malibu and all these things, after to go, make it a real vacation. So we go, she comes home, and all you ladies are thinking about doing laundry, getting your hair done, maybe nails done, something like that. Like, you ain't thinking about this quick turnaround that you got to do. So we end up going to Vegas, and we didn't know what to expect. And we show up, and I think it was 7,000 people in an auditorium at that time. And everybody was just blue sign holding. I mean, most of you were there. 2013, United in Vegas. And it was just, what is this? And we still didn't know what it was, but it felt good. We had strangers giving us hugs. I'm from the Northeast, that's kind of weird. But it felt good. And then we see people like the leaders in the front of this room and the amazing leaders that we have in this company on stage, and they're giving these awesome training events. And we see, again, people just like us walking the stage, and they're making money, and they're hitting ranks, and they're talking about how their life changed, and it's like, wow. And somebody, a trainer that I won't mention a name, doesn't matter at this moment, but they did a training called Be the Ace. And the whole point of that was, like, here's what we hear in this business, especially World Ventures. We hear 1 ace left, 1 ace right's payday, right? So we all naturally, when we're not even qualified reps yet, decide that we're going to go be ace chasers, and we got to go find aces. And when they don't come, because at this time we don't even know what an ace looks like, but when they don't come, we get frustrated. We think, I don't know if it's for me. I don't know if I can do it. But the whole point of this talk was you're only 1 ace away, because you already got one when you look in the mirror. The one common denominator on both of your legs is you. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm an ace. You did it too, don't lie. So I'm feeling it, I'm like, oh yeah, you're right, yeah, oh. And then like a couple hours later, Matt Morris comes up. And he does a talk called Burning the Bridge. And that whole thing is just pretty much about how you got this, you're over here in your normal life, your comfort life, so on and so forth, and then eventually we get the courage, kind of like Really Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and things like that, where we're like, you know what, I'm going to go do this, I'm going to try something else, I'm going to grow, I'm going to do something different. Then we go over here, and it doesn't ever work out the way we want it to, things happen, you know, world ventures, people quit, we get punched in the nose because our best friend said no, whatever it is, and now all of a sudden we want to go clamoring back to the other side, where it's nice and safe and comfortable. But then we get excited, we go to a training event, or somebody speaks life into us, we're like, you know what, let's go back and get this thing going. The whole point of it was you got to get over here and you got to burn that dang bridge. You got to eliminate all options. So while he's doing this, I'm having a full-on epiphany in front of me. Because I'm like, y'all are talking to me. And I'm seeing like, you know, I've always had, and I said this to Nick and I think Dan, I've always had, and I don't know, and I hope you guys don't take it as some egotistical thing, but man, I've just always felt like I'm supposed to do something special. Anybody else ever had that? Yes. And I never knew what or how or any of that stuff. But here I am seeing that, and I'm like, I got this business, this. And none of them ever took off because I was always spread way too thin. Because I never put my all, every ounce of me into any one of them. And at that event is where the seed got planted into me and my wife. We looked at each other, and I just said, you want to go IMD? And this was the very first thing that we'd ever done together when she looked back at me, she was like, yes. And from that point, it was on. Now, getting into the rest of the story, I don't advise any of you to do this. I told you I'm impulsive. And when I go in, I go in. But I also know I'm the type of person that when my back is against the wall, that's when I'm at my best. So sometimes I paint myself in that corner on purpose. Maybe not on purpose, subconsciously, but I do it. I go home from that weekend, Monday morning. Actually Sunday night, I called my brother Tom and I said, I'm done with this real estate company. This company that I just took my dad's $150,000. I said, I'm done with it. I listed all my vending machines that same week for sale, sold them all. Got rid of the travel agency. I just dissolved it, just let it go. And then the most dramatic thing, the most drastic thing, I walked into my commander's office. And I'm a qualified rep in World Ventures. I'm not even senior rep. Qualified rep, and I'm lifestyle bonus qualified. And I walk into my commander's office, and I say, sir, I want to get out of the military. ASAP. Now I got 4 years left on my contract. Military is the only one-way contract in the entire world, where they can let you out for any reason, or terminate you or whatever, but you can't get out of it on your own, or you go to jail. So I walked in there, and I say to him, I found what I'm supposed to be doing. I found something that has my heart in it. And I said, I spent 14 years in the United States Air Force, proud to do it, love it. My heart's not in it anymore. And I'm ready to get out. And this could go one of two ways. And it wasn't an ultimatum, but it was a conversation. And I said, you know, he talked me off, he tried to talk me off the ledge, like, no, you don't know what you're doing, like, you know, 6 years to retirement, you know, you're valuable, like all this stuff. And I'm just like, I don't care, no, like, I'm done. So I say, here's the deal. He first tells me no. And I say, okay, sir, respectfully, I'm not coming here to ask for permission. I'm coming here to say that I'm ready to get out of the military. And that can go with your help, or that can go with me going completely downhill from here on out and getting myself out. Because I found what I'm supposed to be doing. And I don't care how this ends. I don't want it to end bad for you, for me, for any of this. But I'm prepared to do whatever it takes. If I gotta fly to Denver for a weekend, I will. Some of y'all got that. Some of y'all gonna get that in the way. But I was prepared to do whatever it took. When he saw that in my face, when the conversation changed to that demeanor, that's when he said, you know what? Okay. How about, can you give me another year? No. I said, how about 3 months? He said, no, we can't find somebody to replace you in that time. So we agreed on 6 months. This is April 2013. I'm a qualified rep in World Ventures. Signed the contract right there in that office that November 1st, so through October, November 1st of 2013, I was going to be completely discharged from the United States military with no retirement, no benefits, no nothing, cold turkey, out, 14 years, gone. So, here we are. I go home, and my wife's like, you talk to your commander? She didn't know that it was going to go this way. She just knew I was going to have a conversation to see what my options were. Again, I say, yeah. Clock's ticking. So from that point, we get to work. There is no ifs, ands, or maybes. We got to make this work. Because we have nothing to pay our bills. And again, don't go do that, please. But I did it, and it took us until July to hit senior rep. It's almost 7 months, 6.5 months from the day we got started to hit senior rep. My two brothers that I signed up, and I was the one in the front of the room doing all the presentation and everything, they both hit senior rep before me. They were making more money than me. They were cycling, they had a residual check, and I'm the one in the front of the room as the big shot. It was frustrating. July? I'm not even a senior rep in July, and I'm supposed to be out November 1st? So, son of my brother Tim, you guys seen him train, right? Okay. Tim finds one of his best friends, Taylor Gaffney. He came here and trained before too, National Marketing Director. They go and create in Minot, North Dakota, middle of nowhere. They're all just like Rat Pack, early teens, late teens, early 20s, brand new in the military, don't know much. They got their cops, so they got to guard nuclear planes for 12 to 16 hours a day. And they're in a place where they're not from, they have no friends, none of this stuff. And what happens is these guys go start creating a team. They're doing travel parties every single night. They're putting in sales. They're what gave our team at the time confidence, the posture, the belief. So my right leg starts just cranking. And I remember by the time July comes, I'm at like 200 on my right leg, and like 14 on my left. And every single one of the 14 were my personals. And I'd put in like 8 on my right leg already before I even moved to that one. So I'm already close to 30 personals. I'm in early 20s. Let me backtrack just a little bit to that same event at United 2013. That's when we met Eric Grisbowski. So what happened was we fall in Eric's line where there was a big drop-off in that lineage because everybody between the person that signed me up and Eric Grisbowski had quit over 8 years. So when this person that signed me up, they start putting in a bunch of sales. We start putting in a bunch of sales in Maryland. My brother's putting a bunch of sales in Minot, North Dakota from a lineage that Eric doesn't even know about. How many of y'all would like that to wake up one day and you got 30 sales in states you've never even been to and you're like, holy cow, what is this? So at that event, we meet Eric. And, he does the red thing. He's like, well, after that meeting, we're not coming to Maryland. I'm like, bruh, already done. He's like, oh, okay. So he ends up going to Maryland. We started learning the ropes from him, and that's how we started. Up until that point was just, man, we were just making it happen. We went right, wrong, and just whatever. We didn't even know there was a way. We didn't know there was a training. You know what our training was? Jay Peso videos on YouTube. I'm not playing. I saw Jay Peso doing 3 a.m. presentations on the back of his BMW in the middle of the Bronx with like 4 people standing around the trunk, and he's just sitting there doing. I'm like, whoa, you could do that? I'm over here trying to invite people to come to our presentation and nobody's showing up. Like, yo, you could go do that? Yo, so that's what we started doing. We would just show up people's houses. Hey, Zoe, come outside for a minute, man. Check this out. Boom, bring the baby out with you. It's all good. Boom. There was no option of inviting somebody. We were just so excited. You were seeing it. And I didn't care if you told me no. I didn't care if you said it was a pyramid scheme. I didn't care if you told me I was dumb. I didn't care about none of that. Everybody was seeing this thing. And that's all we did. And we would drive to it. We would do presentations, travel parties at night, and then somebody would tell me, hey, I got one person that's awake. It's like 2 in the morning. They're 2 hours away. Let's go. That's all we need. So, we finally get senior up in July, and our right leg's now about 4 something. Just keeps growing, cranking. Right leg is chipping along. Left leg is chipping along. Eric shows up to my market, and I do the same thing that all of us have done, all of you have done, and some of you still continue to do. I'm like, what do I do, Eric? How do I get him to go do something? How do I get my team to duplicate? How do I get him to go to training? He said, go put in 30 more. What? Go put in 30 more? He said, what do you want to hear? He said, you just got to keep showing until it's enough. That's it. And the thing about it is, I didn't get the answer I wanted, but that posture and that confidence, this is it. You think there's a magic potion? Like, no, this is it. Keep showing. Keep showing. So I go, and I'm showing. And I get to, we're now in about August, early August, and putting mad personals, get a couple people to put in 1, 2, still no qualified reps on my left leg. Finally, I get to about 80, 88 person on my left leg, approaching director. And we find this girl named Jasmine Medley, who's 20 years old, bank teller at the time. I did a presentation, she shows up, and she's sitting in the back, doesn't say anything to anybody. After it's over, I go talk to her, and she says, no, I'm done, I don't want to do it. I'm good. All right, cool. I do another one a couple days later, and she showed up again. Except this time she brought her boyfriend with her. I'm like, I thought you were out. What happened? I told this to Nick yesterday, and I don't know that long, but whatever. The girl that invited her was the bank manager of the bank that she worked at. And after Jasmine came and saw that presentation and she told me no, she went home and she printed out a stack of papers this big about how World Ventures is a scam. And she showed up the next morning onto Keisha, the bank manager's desk, and when Keisha walks into her office, there's a stack of papers this big from Jasmine with a note. Keisha walks right in, she sees it, and she's like, and just threw the whole papers all over the office. She's like, I don't give a about that. And that was it. That was enough to get Jasmine to show back up the next day. You guys realize that sometimes people are just waiting on you? They're waiting to see how you really feel, how you're really going to act, how serious you really are about this, how your posture is going to be. See, sometimes they might not be able to see it for themselves, and most of the times they can't see it for themselves. But if they can see it in you, that's enough for them to get started. So she shows up with her boyfriend. I do the presentation, they still don't sign up. She comes up to me after and she says, hey. I said, you getting in? She's like, I don't know. She said, I want you to come show this to my family. And I'm like, no. Because I don't know how y'all operate, but I got a thing that my mentor taught me, we don't work for free. Now, her house was just about 2 hours and 15 minutes away from where I live. And she's not in yet. And she wants me to come to do a presentation for her family And look, the reason why you don't ever want to do it, because if it doesn't go well and nobody signs up, usually that person gets discouraged and they're not getting in now. Right. So you don't want to do all that. But I was like, right leg's cranking. I need some help with my left leg. So I said, all right, I'll come. Now I'm driving 2 hours, 15 minutes away. I'm late because I can't find the place. Yeah. And she's blowing my phone up. And I'm somewhere around, like not far, but I don't know where I am. And she's getting mad nervous. She's got the whole place packed out. And she's thinking I'm not going to show up. She's freaking out. So I show up, set up, I do the presentation. Nobody signs up. Go to her brother, done network marketing before, nah. Her boyfriend Justin don't want nothing to do with it. And what happened was Jasmine got so dang fired up from that event because I just drove 2 hours for her. And I wasn't making one single dime off of her yet, or benefiting. And that was enough for her to say, you know what, I'm doing this. So even though everybody in her family said no, she said yes that night, got it. And through that girl, Jasmine Medley, her boyfriend got in a couple days later, brother got in a couple days later, eventually the whole family got in. We put in 400 brand new members over the next 60 days with her. So we came to boot camp here in July. I was like a couple short of senior rep. Found Jasmine in August, or somewhere around that time frame, and we go hit senior rep, director, and at the view we walk marketing director. Okay, so at marketing director, the view, guess what happens a couple days later? I'm supposed to get out the military. So now we're marketing directors. And November 1st comes along. We aren't balling. You know, we still got our belts tightened a lot. We moved into a 700 square foot apartment from our 3,000 square foot house that we had. We sold one of our cars. We turned off the cable and everything. I had season tickets for the Orioles. We got rid of all that. We literally got rid of everything in our life that wasn't going to help us get to IMD and wasn't going to help us save money to help us in that journey. So November 1st comes, we're marketing directors, we're on fire, we're getting out of the military, we're free, and we go run like you can't even imagine. And over the next 6 months, we hit regional marketing director. And then right after that, not too far after that, that's when I came here to train you guys. Okay, so, you know, we're going to talk about more of the story throughout the day, okay? But the things that I want you to kind of realize as I'm telling you is that throughout my whole story, there's a lot of peaks and valleys. There's a lot of peaks and valleys. Like one of them, after that, in between October and December, there's another company that tried to wake us all up. And they came and they annihilated my brother Thomas Pele. My brother was not his Pele, his whole team. He was a director. He went all the way back down to qualified rep. I was a marketing director, and that just quarter of my team just went away. And we lost it. We went right back to director. And then for the next few months, as we're climbing through R&D, we're just bouncing back and forth between ranks. But there was another spark that showed up that helped us get to RMD, and then so on and so forth. How much time? Where are we at right now? Just go with it. So RMD. Okay, let's talk about that story. Nick, by the way, Nick's running the show. He said I can keep talking, so I'm going to keep talking. RMD, we hit RMD. We go on the RMD trip to Jamaica, our very first one. And we're around all the top leaders in the company. And, you know, at this one, they got these bungalows for us. You guys remember that? Bungalows? There was like 5 couples in each bungalow. And these are all RMDs and above in the company. And me and my wife, we fly in there early because we're like, man, we want to get there, you know, as early as we can. So we get in early, and they take us to our bungalow. And we're the first ones there. There's no other couples. And we're like, who else is coming? Like, what RMDs and above are going to be here with us? And, you know, we go out to the pool because every single one of the bungalows has their own private pool and all that stuff. So we go out there, and Johnny Wimbry and his wife start walking up. Like, you lost? I was supposed to have like a fancy house up on the hill or something. Like, What are you doing? Nah, we're staying here. Oh, wow, cool. Man, we're gonna be with the Wimbrys all week. That's dope. 30 minutes later, the Morrises walk up. Whoa. Okay, we're all in the pool chilling now. About another 30 minutes later, the Acetas show up. No way, dude. You're just coming to see these guys. Like, there's no way you're staying here. Oh yeah, we're here. And about 3 hours later, comes strolling in all late, the big master suite. We all got these tiny little rooms, 4 rooms. We got the little rooms, all us couples. And there's this big master at the top, and it's like, the Nugents show up. Very first R&B trip. We're in a whole week with Wimbrys, Morrises, Acetas, and Nugents. We have 2 meals a day with them, breakfast and either lunch or a dinner. All right, there's a couple activities planned. Like, we're in it with these guys. I really don't know why I told you that story. That's been pretty cool. There is more to it, but the whole thing is that being around those people, there were more seeds planted in us that weekend that helped us get to the next level. See, there's always going to be people or situations in your life that come in when they need to. Sometimes they're there for just a short season. Sometimes it's there for just one conversation to plant a seed or get you to think a certain way, motivate you to get you to believe what you really can do. Those conversations, especially the ones with Wayne Nugent, and I know y'all, you've had some exposure to Wayne Nugent and these leaders, so you know that mindset, you know that vision. And you just, as you're having these conversations, you can feel it elevating and pulling you up in life. But the crazy part about it is that these conversations and these visions are scary, especially for people like us that aren't used to, things big like that. But we go out of there. So hold on. While I'm on that trip, we're hanging out with a lot of R&Bs, and you talk shop, talk about how you build a business. How's your business going? We're trying to learn from each other. Iron sharpens iron. And I'm talking to all these R&Bs, and they're cycling. And we get to Thursday, and I got 2 sales on my pay list. Not 2 cycles, 2 sales as an R&B. While I was on that R&B trip, I lost R&B. Lost by about 100. Deflating. Embarrassing. We're on this R&B trip around all these people, and we're like, damn, we ain't doing R&Bs anymore. And we come back, and you know my mentality. Oh well, let's go get it. Let's get back to work. So we go get it back in a month. Nothing, got it back. No rain. Lose it again. And over the next couple months, it was just R&B, empty, R&B, empty, R&B, empty. And every single time that I wasn't there working, my business went backwards. Every time I was there doing it, it grew. Your businesses might be like that. And you can either keep going down that same path and wondering, oh, I hope it's going to get better. What gives? Or you can build your business with intention. So I said, all right, well, there is a flaw in my business somewhere. What I realized, I had over 250 personals. I remember a conversation about 6 months before we hit R&D. It was between me and my wife, and we were just burnt out. We were tired. We were tired of hearing all the excuses and the objections. And we were tired of lifting everybody up. We were tired of doing Secret Saturdays and just seeing blank stares, and we got to keep pouring into our team. We were just drained. And I still remember with this conversation, and it ended with, let's just go finish. Let's just go hurry up and get to R&B. You see that big jump in the comp plans, or the income disclosure statement says from 55,000 up to like 164 at the time. It was like, man, let's just get to that point. Let's just hurry up. And we did, and we just bullied our way there. We just made it happen. Numbers. We played the numbers. We did it. You know, we built it up. But we built our business off on faulty ground. We built it in sand. The whole entire business is revolved around us, which is not the way you want any business. Unless you're an egotistical person that wants all the credit, which we're not those people, and that doesn't work in network marketing. The whole goal is rising tide lifts all boats. You build from the bottom. You build leaders. You build people. I didn't know that. Nobody ever taught me that. So we made a fundamental difference in our business, and we started saying, you know what? We'll stay MDs for a couple months. Forget the numbers. Let's focus on the people. The reason why our business goes backwards is because the leaders we have in place can't do what we can do. So when we're gone, it's falling. These things aren't happening, or they're not doing them to the same level. So instead, we created an inner circle. We started doing private trainings and leadership events, and all I did, forget the numbers. I stopped doing travel parties, and I'm not saying, travel parties are still going to go on, but I wasn't the one doing them anymore. I purposely stepped out of the way and said, you're up, you're up, you're up. Yeah, I don't care if a millionaire's in the front row. You're doing it anyway. And we started developing leaders, breeding leaders. It wasn't very hard for me. All I had to do was put my mindset to it, because that was the background I came from anyways in the military. That's all we did. We took 18, 19, 20-year-olds. They came straight from their parents' houses, didn't even know how to do their own laundry, couldn't pay bills, didn't have any money, had no credit, you know, things like that. Or some of them didn't even know about hygiene. Didn't, you know what I mean, bathe like once a week. It was just... And we got to take this person from coming from any background, different skin color, different religions, different financials and education, all the situations, and we got to take this person and we got to mold them from who they were into this full-on war fighter that breeds leaders. It's a full-on system of breaking them down, stripping them of all the old crap they had going on and carrying on with them, and building them back up the Air Force way, the military way. Okay? I've done this before. Except it ain't the Air Force anymore. It's WV. So I gotta break you down. I gotta get rid of all that crap in your head that's holding you back about how you can't do this, about how you don't know if this is real, about just because your dad told you no, that doesn't mean anything. About, oh yeah, so what, you got a speech impediment. You can still do the presentation. Like, so what, you don't have a lot of money and your clothes aren't as nice as some other people. Who cares? And oh, by the way, if you are that, if any of that stuff is happening to you, listen. Understand that that's your power. If your life is at a point right now where you're embarrassed of it, show up and let everybody see it. If you're embarrassed to wear the clothes you're wearing, if you're embarrassed to pull up in the car that you're driving and you don't want people to see that, do it anyway. I'm telling you, it's going to boost your business here. It's going to boost your business here. See, the power in this business is when people see where you came from and then watch you climb. Every person in this world's got a different price or a different something that they need to do anything. Every single one of you in this room has a price to commit murder. Every single one of you is kind of too many. But most of you. And I'm not talking about money. I'm not talking about stuff like that. But if your wife, or your husband, or your daughter, or your son, or your mama was sitting here at gunpoint right now, I bet you'd want to kill me, wouldn't you? If I was holding a gun or a knife to the throat, I bet you'd want to kill me, wouldn't you? See, there's no price for us to do anything, good and bad. And when we go show people, and maybe you're at a point to where, yeah, the friends that have nicer cars, they have more money, they're maybe in a little bit better place than you in life, and they're looking down at you, which shouldn't be happening, but it happens. They're looking down at you, and you're feeling like you're inferior, like they're not going to sign up with me. I need Zoe to do the presentation. Listen, maybe they won't sign up with you right then and there. But you know what they're always going to remember? How it was when you came and you brought in the information. They're going to remember that car you pulled up in. They're going to remember how your life was. They're going to remember the debt you had and all those things. And as you start going, you start casting that vision. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And you do it with posture. Even if they say no to you, they're going to start watching you. Some are watching because they're rooting for you and they're hoping you succeed. And some are watching because they want to be able to tell you, I told you so. Told you that thing wouldn't work. But no matter what, they're watching. Well, you get your 4, you make a check. Maybe that's enough for them to say, you know what? All right. Maybe you go your lifestyle. You save up that lifestyle loan for the next couple months and you upgrade your car. It doesn't need to be a Beamer. Maybe it's just nice and new Honda or Ford or whatever. Just something more reliable, newer. You know, things as you're going, as your wardrobe starts to change, as you're smiling more, as they see you going on dream trips, as you start hanging around with people that are obviously great people, and people with experience and life experience and success, and as they see your social media and you guys are hanging out at DTL restaurants and they're like, oh, what are you doing hanging out over there with them? Maybe you get to the point where you quit your job one day because World Ventures is doing enough for you to support you. You know, as all these things start happening, that's when people see enough. But we don't know what level it is that we need to get for the people to see. But just know that they all come on. Every single one of those levels. So back to you. The beginning, the lowest level, that's your power. Because that climb, when they see that transformation, that's what gets them. Only fools doubt proof. Only fools doubt proof. I still got people coming back, like now, there's still people telling me no. They told me no at the beginning. But boy, oh boy, do I have a lot of people trickling in that told me no at the beginning. And it's crazy because it's not so much that my life changed so much, even though it definitely did, it's that their life stayed so much the same. They got it. And then, what's even more powerful is you staying and maintaining and being consistent. You know what? I got friends that come up to me every day and they tell me, dude, I want to join that right now. And I'm like, all right, okay. Well, why all of a sudden? And we're coming, I'm getting answers that are saying, you know what, man? I look at you and I see your life and your social media, and you're the only person that I really know that is still doing the same thing. Right. Over 5 years, most of my friends have gone to different jobs, different careers, different businesses, different marketing deals, different this, different that, and you stayed the same. Not stayed the same, but you're still in the same thing. You're still having fun. You're still happy. That's all I need. I don't know anybody else that has that. There's power in the climb. There's power in all of this right here. I think I'm about done with this talk. Q, you remember that thing that said at the front of the seats? Right there in the front of the seats, man. A lot of them. There's power in the climb. We're going to start teaching you some things throughout the rest of the day. We only got about 3 hours left. But it's going to be jam-packed with some high-intensity stuff. We're going to teach you the system really quickly. How many people in here have been in less than 2 weeks? Okay, cool. Good stuff. Congratulations. By the way. I'll talk about the rest of the climb, RMD to IMD and stuff in my later segments. I want to move on to what we want to talk about, but just know that it's going to get better throughout the rest of the day. I hope you guys don't have to leave early. If you do, sorry, but try to stay. My last segment is going to be the most powerful one. It's my system. It's what we do as Get Paid Nation. It's how we grab a brand new person from prospect and we build it all the way up to finding aces, building through aces, and finding a whole entire organization. It's going to be full on. We're going to take over this whole room. You guys are going to be interactive with me, and by the time you guys are done seeing this, you're going to know exactly how to go build this to a very high level, very fast. And the only thing that's going to stop you is you. Y'all ready for that?
Yeah.
All right.